All right, for example 1, you're going to want to go get a worksheet that looks like this from your teacher. So you have all of the questions that you need to answer. And I've pulled out each question each of these questions in the blocks into a separate page so you can see a little bit better for the video. So for example 1, we're using the information that Grandma's special chocolate chip cookie recipe, which yields 4 dozen cookies, calls for 3 cups of flour. So the first task in our table is to create a table comparing the amount of flour used to the amount of cookies. So we are comparing the cups of flour to the number of dozen cookies. We know from the information that 4 dozen cookies is 3 cups of flour. So 4 dozen cookies is 3 cups of flour. So to get enough information on this table, I'm just going to go through and add a couple more rows to my table. So I'm going to double this and make 8 dozen cookies. So I would need a total of 6 cups of flour. We could double this again. So 16 dozen cookies, we would double this and get 12 cups of flour. All right, our next question. Is the number of cookies proportional to the amount of flour used? Explain why or why not. We can use our table to help us answer this question. So we're going to compare the number of dozen cookies to cups of flour. So we're going cookies per cup of flour. And let's use all of the information from our table. So we're going to do 4 to 3 first, which is simplified down as far as it'll go. Let's do our next row, which was 8 to 6, which both of those are even numbers, and we can divide them both by 2. So again, we get the same ratio. And let's do our last one, 16 to 12. Which these are both divisible by 4, and we get 4/3. So we would say that yes, this is proportional, and we can say the K value is equal to 4/3. You could say that the ratios are all the same. You can say when you divide, you get the same value. Any of those explanations would work. Okay. What is the unit rate of cookies to flour, y to x, and what is the meaning in the context of the problem? So if we go back to our previous question, we got 4/3 as the value of the ratio each time, so our K value is 4/3. So our constant of proportionality is 4/3. And this means that we have 4/3 or 1 1/3 dozen cookies per cup of flour. So I got this order from looking at the ratio that we did, which was cookies per cup of flour. All right, our next problem here says model the relationship on the graph. I was looking for my empty graph here. We can use this one. All right, I'm going to try to zoom in a little bit here so we can see. Okay. So we know when we compare, we are comparing our y to our x. So our cookies is our y and our flours is the x. So I'm going to put dozen cookies on the y and then cups of flour on the x. All right, so we're going to use our table that we created to help us. So I know that I have these values in my table. So let's see if we can count by 1. So if I go 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So that works. Let's try that. right, so here's my 0. Here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And then I know I need to get to 16. I don't think I can do that, so I'm going to count by, well, we'll just count by that and then we'll make it work. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. All right, so my first point was 3, 4. So I go over to 3 and then up to 4. And then 6 and up to 8. And then 12 and all the way up to 16. I don't have 6. I ended at 13, so I'm just going to kind of guess. 14, 15, 16. And then if we were to connect those, I got pretty close there. All right, let's zoom back out. Okay, our next question. Does the graph show the quantities being proportional to each other? So if we are looking just at the picture of the graph, remember our 2 characteristics. This needs to be a straight line and it needs to go through 0, 0, which this graph does. So we would say yes, the graph is straight. And goes through 0, 0. All right, our last question here. Write an equation that can be used to represent the relationship. Now remember, the general form of our equation is y equals k times x. And we found a value for k. Let's see if I can find my paper that we did it on. Here we go. So we found that our k value was 4/3. So when we go to write this equation, we are just replacing that k value with 4/3. We leave the x and the y.